Okay.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Live Well, Love Strong podcast. And today I have the pleasure of speaking with Allison Hill. Allison Hill is a disability advocate, a writer, and a founder of Harvesting Hope Acres, a nonprofit farm in the making dedicated to creating meaningful employment and community for people with disabilities. She holds a master's degree in special education and elementary education and has served for years in both the professional and volunteer roles in disability ministry. Allison published a book called Jacob's Special Power and has contributed to Autism Speaks, Autism Parenting Magazine, and her blog, Jacob's Journey Through Autism, sharing stories from her family's journey with autism. She's been married for 17 years to her best friend Charles, and together they're raising three wonderful kids. Their oldest just graduated from Texas A&M. Their middle one keeps everyone laughing with his smarts and his wit, and their youngest, Jacob, is a joy-filled teen with level 3 autism who continues to inspire their mission every single day. Oh my gosh, Allison, I'm so
Hi.
excited to have you on the podcast. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm so happy to have you. Okay, so what we are talking about today is a couple of different things that are really important to the autism community, but also the disability community as a whole.
Mhm.
And one of them is going to be therapy slash service dogs. So, what's the difference between a service dog and a therapy dog?
Okay, a therapy dog offers a lot of emotional support to people, but they don't have the same laws and rights as service dogs. So, a service dog like Reed, my son's service dog, is trained to perform a specific task. And so, they're trained for their specific person to perform a task. And then, under the Americans with Disabilities Act, they're legally allowed to accompany their person, whoever they're working for, in public, anywhere that the public can go. So that's like restaurants and stores and schools, whereas therapy dogs don't have the same legal rights.
I got it. Okay. And so, what would make someone think that they need a service dog? And then why did you start kind of looking into that for your family and for Jacob specifically?
Yeah, so a service dog is trained to perform a specific service. So it's not just for emotional assistance, which those are very valuable too. With Jacob, we noticed right after he started walking that he would elope. And what elopement means is it's when people with autism or any other disability, they dart away from safety. So you think about, for neurotypical children, a toddler who's not aware of danger, who maybe you're walking in a parking lot and they see something and they just dart out and they're not even aware of traffic, except it goes on into their teens. Jacob's
Yeah.
15 and he's still doing that. So when we noticed that, I went through all of the usual tools and tips and tricks that everybody said. We had one of those little leashes that, you get odd looks in public because you have a leash on your tie, but
Yeah.
it's like,
Can we talk about that for just a second? Because
sure.
I think that that's really important to talk about. We have a service dog as well. My daughter Mary Elizabeth has a service dog, Cassian, and he smells seizures. So we got him for a different reason, but definitely needed. But before I knew about elopement, and before I knew about service dogs and therapy dogs and this world of disability that we live in, I would see people in the mall with their kids on a leash, and I would think, oh
Why
my
would you do
gosh.
that?
And now I know better, right? Like I didn't know what I didn't know back then, but now I know better. And so, can we talk just a little bit about what that does for a mom? Like just the feelings associated with that, and then
So,
also people looking at you and judging you, or like just trying to manage your day-to-day life and all of those feelings that go with it.
yeah, I know a lot of the questions are, why aren't you just holding his hand? And, sure, we're definitely still holding his hand,
Yeah.
but there are a lot of things like with Jacob, when the wind blows too hard, it is a personal offense to him. Like,
Right.
how dare the
Right.
wind be blowing? And he will, maneuver out of our hand as fast as lightning and take off running,
Right.
and so having like a little leash there or whatever you would call it, like usually the kids are wearing a backpack and it
Yeah.
connects to the
Yeah.
parent. That was just another level of safety, another level of if he gets out of my hands, if for one split second of every single moment that I'm out with him, I'm not
Yeah.
right there present. It's kind of a safety guard. However, the things that we started noticing with Jacob is as he got older, he wanted to feel independence and
Hmm.
he could maneuver out of a backpack. He could take a little thing off of his wrist. And so that wasn't really working well for us anymore. And so I just started researching what is there out there. Never had I heard of an autism service dog. And as a matter of fact, I probably would have thought that it was more for emotional or
Right.
anxiety. But I came across Autism Service Dogs of America and I did a bunch of research, and that's the company that we decided to go with.
Awesome. Okay. And so what has Reed provided for Jacob and your family? What are some of the things that Reed has brought for y'all?
So Rita's semi-retired after COVID. COVID kind of everything slowed down, and Jacob came back in home and does school out of the home. But when we first got Reed, um, I remember the first time we went to an Astros game as a family, and usually outings like that, they're fun, but they're really stressful because
Right.
it's constant on guard. Um, so if I back up a little, the way that Reed works is as a third party service dog. So because Jacob um, can't be the technical handler of Reed, that puts me and my husband as the dog's handler. And so Jacob tethers to the dog. And so it's a little I guess, a little leash or a little tether that goes around
Yeah.
Jacob's waist. And then he
Hmm.
can hold the dog's handle on the dog's vest. And then I have the dog's leash that goes around the dog's snout. So it's called a gentle lead.
Yeah.
And so I was trained to be the dog's handler and to give him commands through his leash.
Awesome. Oh my
So,
God.
to answer your question, he gave us so much freedom from the first day that we got Reed. Jacob was walking so proudly by himself, not us having to have like a ninja grip on
Right.
him. He was able to walk by himself independently. He was proudly holding his dog, walking with his
Mm.
dog. We got to
Yeah.
cross a busy street and nobody was holding on to Jacob, and he was older at that point. So um it changed so much. I was able to go to the grocery store and not feel like after 2 minutes, this is too stressful. We have to go home.
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
really gave Jacob a lot of independence.
I love it. Okay. Mary Elizabeth loves Cassian. I feel like Cassian is he definitely smells seizures, but I feel like he offered a lot of the emotional and
Mhm.
and social in our case, right? So Mary Elizabeth's in a wheelchair and she doesn't look like other children, and so I find that having the dog, other children come to us now and they want to like engage and interact, and I find that Mary Elizabeth's like so proud of herself and so excited that all the kids are coming over to see Cassian, but then in the process we get to be kind to them, and then we get to show them a side of Mary Elizabeth that they wouldn't know, which is that she's a friendly kid and she has a lot of the same likes and dislikes that they have, and so we get to
Mhm.
kind of like build that, just have some peers around
Yeah.
her, and so I heard you say a little bit about Jacob with his dog, and he was by himself and very proud of himself. Did he have a lot of social like positive stuff from having Reed as well?
I think it was both. We had so much positive, especially with peers his age. It opened so many doors for him, and same, even though Jacob looks like neurotypical peers, he doesn't act like it. And it's very quickly noticeable,
Mhm.
especially to peers his age, who would usually stare or walk off. And now they're seeing this fluffy dog and they're coming and they're wanting to engage. And so it opened so many doors there for him that we really, really loved. But we also, after the first year, it felt like a spectacle everywhere we went to.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, it was kind of like, oh, do we want to bring the dog? This is going to be a big deal. And everywhere we went, it was kind of a big deal because it's a big dog. Um,
Right.
so it was mixed, but I would say, for Jacob, he was very, very proud of, or he is very, very proud of Reed. And it did open a lot of social doors for him, for sure.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. Okay. So we know that service dogs for you and for me maybe aren't the fix all or the cure all.
Mhm.
Um, can we discuss what else we would do for elopement? If someone has a young child and let's say they're two-ish, three-ish, so they're still a toddler, and so they're still trying to wrestle them with the arm or maybe one of those little backpacks. Uh, what are some things to think about, and what are some like real strong signs that like this isn't just a kid running after something shiny that they see, and that this is like something that we're going to have to understand
Well,
and manage and really give a lot of attention to.
the difference for us, Jacob didn't have awareness. And so we could just tell that from the beginning. So if we're calling out to Jacob, and now he still elopes and he is more aware, we can say no and he'll turn around. But at the time, it was just any opportunity. If a door was left open, he'd be out the door, or and there was no awareness of water, of traffic. So what I would say for parents who are just beginning to navigate this, I would say,
Mm-hmm.
don't be embarrassed, and I would be so much more proactive, and people are going to be like, okay, this is overkill. It's not overkill, because I 49% of individuals with autism will elope at some point, and
Wow, I didn't know
the
that.
leading cause
Wow.
of death in individuals with autism is drowning or traffic. So it's very, very serious. And what we
Yeah.
did, after the first incident with Jacob, when he was a little guy, the front door was left unlocked. He got out of the front door, was walking down the street, even past some adults, and he was little in diapers, past some adults. Could have been just such a tragic incident, but we
Right.
were able to get him. We ran back into the house, and I was like, okay, we need to deadbolt the doors. And so what we've done for all of these years is we have double key deadbolts. So
Mm-hmm.
both of our doors on the inside are key locked from the inside, and we wear key lanyards like we are gym teachers. But
Good. That's such good information. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
we found out that if we put the keys in my purse, Jacob would find the keys in my purse. Anytime he
Right.
finds even a loose old key, he'll go to the door trying to open
And
it.
try it. So
So
clever, Jacob. So clever.
he's a master
That's
escape
right.
artist.
Yeah.
So we deadbolt our house from the inside. We wear our keys. He just this year learned about opening windows and getting out of them at 15. So we've kind of not had to deal with that until now. So there
Mm-hmm.
are keys, locking keys that you can put on windows.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of one of those situations where you really have to weigh the risk. Is it
Mm-hmm.
more risky that there's going to be an incident with fire in your house, or that your kid is going to escape? And for us, every day Jacob would escape. So
Right.
we have to balance out the risks with that.
Yeah, and
But
make the best decisions that you can.
and then at schools or in therapy, I don't think you can be um serious enough with school systems about if your child needs one-on-one attention if they're an eloper. Um,
Okay, so let's stop for 1 second because I think that is true and very, very important. So, what does a new mom do? What do they do? How do they go about um,
So if they're navigating
getting people to
school
see that, to realize it, to agree with it, and then to put in
and to
safety and
have a
protection
plan.
for the baby?
Right.
Right. Yeah.
So we use a GPS watch called Angel Sense. And so it's not cheap. I want to say it's about $50 a month, but we use Angel Sense every time he goes to school. And so that gives us early alarms like when he arrives, if he were to leave, and then we can GPS locate him. We also have the alerts that are set up to go to the school's security guard. So that way, if he were to get out, everybody's getting notifications and we're all trying to get to where he is.
Oh my goodness.
Mm.
I have a friend who has a kiddo that elopes, but I guess we're not close enough for me to have known. I know that she does blocks. I know she's always talking about it, but I didn't realize that it's that in depth. But it is, it's that
You
serious
think about it,
because,
it's
right,
every second. It's every second
right.
of every day you have to be on guard. I know that for little ones that run around at night, they make beds that are zip up. They're kind of like a tent. And again,
Hmm.
it sounds like, wow, that's risky, but you really have to weigh risks. And when you have a serious eloper, them getting out of the house, especially if that's where they're usually trying to elope to, is a way bigger risk than a fire
Right.
hazard. And so you're really having to navigate what's best for your family and,
Yeah.
what's riskier.
Yeah, I like that you said that. I'm going to switch topics for just a second because you were talking about, making the best decision and navigating risk. And I find that this life is full of gray. There's not a lot of black and white. There's like a lot of
Mhm.
duality. Things are lovely and they're horrible. Um, things are, you know, a blessing and also a burden. And so I want to give you a second to talk a little bit about that because I know that you are part of a group of moms that is trying to find joy in this life. And
Mhm.
to find joy often because it's so hard and so we have to be able to find the good in it. So can we talk just a little bit about how you've managed to live in joy and to find the joy and to live in those moments more than the stuff we just talked about?
Yeah, yeah, sure. I feel like I've learned that joy doesn't mean the absence of pain. I think it's something deeper. It comes from my relationship with God and knowing that
Love it.
He has a plan for our family. Um, I think that humor is really, really important. If you can't laugh,
Yeah,
you're going to cry. And so every situation, I'm calling my sister and we're finding a way to laugh about it.
yeah,
Um, I think one thing that my family has done, because especially with the siblings, Jacob takes up a lot of space, like emotionally.
yeah,
And that's often the case when you have one of the siblings has a disability. And so we always take time to celebrate the small victories. And I think that's definitely been an outcome of living like life with somebody who has a disability, where every single little thing we get to celebrate. And so in turn we do that with our other kids too. And so it makes life really joyful when every day you can find something that you can celebrate, some win. But ultimately I think it comes down to our faith in God, and that God has a really awesome plan for our family and for Jacob,
yeah,
through this.
yeah. I love that. How do you see God show up in what you're doing right now? So I want to
Oh,
talk just a little bit about building this conscious community, building this place of refuge, of hope, of growth, of new life. Can you just give me a little bit about what y'all are doing? And then I know it's been hard, but then also so many blessings. So
yeah. Well, one thing I learned when I was working in disability ministry was there's so few spaces that are truly inclusive, especially for kids with higher needs.
Hmm.
Um, there are often some inclusive, like job settings, but they often exclude the kids who need one-on-one assistance all the
Right,
time.
right.
Or it's an area where they haven't thought, hey, we might need an adult-sized changing table here. And if we don't, then guess what's going to happen? Parents are going to have to put their loved one on the ground. And we want to build a place that has our participants at the forefront and just a place with a dignified place that they can find meaning and belonging and work outside in nature, which I think, you're just closer to God outside.
Yeah, totally.
Um, and so we want to offer just hands-on learning, gardening, and basic animal care. And we don't want to be exclusive of anyone. So our model will most likely be that our participants come with their parent or their aide
Mhm.
so that they're able to participate.
Yeah. Oh my God. I love that. I'm in the same boat with you of like Mary Elizabeth is quite complex. And so dropping her off at church for their special needs ministry just hasn't worked for us. It's just not safe because she has so many needs and there's a lot of training that's involved. And so I know that a lot of families like ours have felt not left out is not the right word, but I think that we're just isolated and alone, and there's not, and we're not talking about it. And so I'm glad that you're talking about it and building something as a solution. And I just, I can't, I can't say how important that is, and it's the theme as I've been doing this podcast and talking to different moms, especially the moms who've been, are a decade in plus.
Hmm.
Uh, every single one of them is like, if we want it, we have to build it ourselves.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so, no one's building it for us. So we have to do it ourselves. And so you and your family are doing that. And
Yeah,
it's
and
amazing.
we're finding it's not as easy as we had hoped. So I can see why it's been such a challenge to have opportunities like this, but I would say don't give up, don't give up, fight for the community that you want. And I know I've already had so many people reach out that are interested in this, that want their loved one to come. And there are opportunities for children, but there's not a whole lot of opportunities for teens and adults
Right.
with
Yeah.
higher needs like this. And so I'm really, really hoping that it'll be something special.
I know it's going to be something special. I can already feel it. So I'm so
Thank
excited for you and I'm so proud of you. And I just like am in
you.
awe of what you're building and what you're doing and of your beautiful heart. Yeah, of your beautiful heart. Okay, is there anything that you would want to say, anything that you would want people to hear that we haven't talked about right now?
Yeah, the process of getting read. Um,
Mhm. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Thank you.
yeah. So one thing that I was told whenever we found Autism Service Dogs of America is that a lot of people, typically the application process is and even fundraising is pretty challenging, and so they have a lot of people drop off. And I would say don't give up. Our process, we applied to the service dog program. We had to send in a video and a
Mhm.
questionnaire, and that even kind of took a long time. And then we had an interview, and then we got accepted into the service dog program. After we got accepted in, they asked us to fundraise. So they said it is a heavy burden on the family,
Right.
whenever it's not just given to you. So I want to
Hmm.
say that the service dog was 13,500, and then there were all kinds of expenses for travel
Hmm.
for training. So we set up a GoFundMe. My mom set that up. And such a funny story. My daughter and her cousin had been rewriting, they were young, had been rewriting Taylor Swift songs for donations for Autism Speaks back in the day. And
Yeah.
so they decided they were going to do that for this fundraiser, and they rewrote a Taylor Swift song, and Taylor Swift saw it ended up donating $10,000, fully funded our dog after that. And so, and we ended up getting to go backstage and meet her, which was just such a crazy God story that he just worked all that out. But um, the process of, for our process, we had to fully raise the money before they even start to train the dog. So
Okay,
then
that's
they
good
start to
information.
train your dog, and we got Reed, I think, 2 years after he was fully funded. So
Hmm.
it's a process. It's a process, but I would say don't give up, because the freedom that we got after we got Reed, and to be able to go out in public and to do things as a family again, and even the small things like going to the grocery store, that was just such a challenge,
Yeah. Yeah.
we got to do. So, yeah, I would say it's worth it. It's
It's
worth
worth it. Okay, so the application process is long, guys, and
Yes.
ours was long as well. There's another organization called Canine Companions. I have a good friend who's on the board of that. It's a pretty intense application process too, and a pretty intense training process. But then they have the same kind of feelings of like, it's worth it. We would do it again.
Mhm.
We wish everyone could do this. And
Mhm.
so,
One
um,
thing that I would say, one thing that I didn't realize, so after Reed was ready,
mhm,
they had me fly to Portland to train to be the dog's handler for a week. And after the first day of training with the dog, I went back to the hotel and cried my eyes out, cried and cried, because I was like, okay, I've got Jacob 24 hours, and now I have to give all these commands to the dog. And I have the dog with me all the time. And it was just so overwhelming. And I remember the organization told me everybody feels like that when they come. And we didn't know how to really tell them. And so I ended up writing a blog post about that they shared with the incoming families. But basically, I think it's overwhelming whenever you're learning all of it. But I want to say it was like within a week and a half, it was so second nature, it wasn't hard anymore. It made life
yeah,
so much easier. So it's just
yeah.
getting over that initial hump. Like the wait is hard. And then the training, you'll be like, oh my goodness, what did I get myself into? And then it literally goes away, and it's so easy. It makes life so much easier. So, don't give up. Don't be discouraged. It's normal to feel a little overwhelmed. Did you feel like that?
Oh my gosh, yes. The first like 24 hours, I was just kind of like goo goo gaga because he's just this big,
Yeah.
beautiful poodle, and we just all loved on him and we were just like tickled pink. And then, yeah, and then I cried as well. I was kind of like, did I do the right thing? This
Yes.
is too much. It's overwhelming. Should we have spent our money on something else? Like all of
Yep.
it. But that first time, well, we went out in public was just amazing. But the first time we went to therapy with
Mhm.
Cassian, and all of our friends at therapy came over and got to meet them, and Mary Elizabeth got to use her talker to say, his name is Cassian. He's sauced and fluffy. He's 2 years old. Like, I mean, I would have done it all just for that moment. Like,
Yep.
you know what I mean?
Yep.
And so, yeah, it is
Not
like
only that,
everything in life. I think, yeah, it's
it-
overwhelming, but once you get moving and once you get going, then we can master all these things. We've got
yep.
these kids and we can do this. Yeah, I like it. Yeah.
And what was really interesting is that, Reed was trained specifically to anchor.
Hmm.
So when Jacob would start to run, I give Reed a command through his leash, and he would anchor to the ground, and Reed's a big dog. So it would stop Jacob right in his tracks. And I want to say the first week we went to Costco with Reed, Jacob took off to go dart into traffic. Reed anchored. It was like within the first week, Reed had already saved Jacob, and he would have gotten out of my
Yeah.
hand in that instance. But what was cool is that um, Jacob would take Reed to school, and Reed would get under the desk. And when Jacob would get overwhelmed, because he has severe anxiety, especially to auditory stimuli,
Hmm.
he would lay down and he would lay on Reed, and it was just this sense of like comfort. And that's not why we got him, but he was, that was like the secondary
Yeah, like built
beautiful
in good.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
And same, I always say, Reed's my service dog too. You know, he can tell
Right.
whenever you're upset and he comes and he leans on me and he loves on me.
Yeah.
Just very,
Yeah.
very sweet.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Okay. Well, thank you so
Yeah,
much for coming
sure. Thanks
on.
for
Thank you
having
for
me.
talking. It's so good to reconnect.
Yes.
And like I said, I am just like in awe of you
Oh,
and what your family's.
same girl. I follow you.
Thank you so much. I know that we have to build it ourselves. And so that's
Mhm.
what I'm doing. It's what you're doing. It's what all the mamas that we're going to get on here are doing. And so I'm just grateful to be in that group. And I'm grateful to be, looking to you whenever I feel discouraged to say like, oh, she's got it. I can keep going. And I feel like if
Mhm.
we just keep doing that with each other, we're going to be okay.
Yep, I agree. Oh,
Okay. All right. Well,
thank you
take
so much for
care.
having me.
Yeah, definitely. And guys, all of Allison's information, her blog, the link to the therapy dog websites, and a lot of other like just resources and information will be posted in the show notes. So check it out and thank y'all for listening.
Mhm.
Bye, guys.
Bye.